Hi, this is Real World Audio and I'm giving you the ultimate guide to how to make the most out of the YouTube audio video showroom videos. So if you don't know what those are, like AV showroom videos, these are basically people posting sound samples that they make with their loudspeakers. And I just have this is a playlist on my YouTube channel, and I have a couple of these recorded here. So for example, there's like a channel that's called like AV Show Reports. They post a bunch of these videos, but there's like tons of extra things and all sorts of channels and people posting recordings made by their system. So basically they are either using a microphone or a cell phone. And uh, and and I received a question from Noter2, one of my subscribers, that how useful are these videos? Can we really gauge these to can we use these to gauge the system that is being demoed? So if there's a loudspeaker showcased in one of these videos or an amplifier, is this sound sample going to give me a reasonable impression of what it sounds in real life? So now my guide is starting. So basically you need to know three big factors to get the most out of these audio sound reviews from YouTube. And there's number one. So the first factor is that you need to know that when you are listening to all of these videos, you are getting two types of resolution. So basically, if the channel has a very high view count, so for example, you are seeing a video that has like 100,000 views, then those videos get a high bitrate sound by YouTube. And if you see a video, like for example, if you look up one of my sound samples, like these two videos here, my video channel, I mean my YouTube channel, is a really tiny one. So YouTube provides me and not just me but you as well, my viewers, with only a low bitrate version of these posts. So basically you are getting 126k MP3. So that's the resolution you are getting from mine videos. That's equivalent to 126 kilobyte per second MP3. But however, you might be getting less than that when your bandwidth is low. So maybe you are getting something like down to 90k MP3 or even lower. But if your connection is good, then you are getting 126k MP3. Now, when you look at a video of someone posting of their systems, like for example these AV show reports, when you look at these videos, that's a really big channel. They are getting 256k per sec MP3. 256k. So that's the resolution that the heavy hitter YouTube videos are getting. And as you see, there's a monstrous difference between the two. So if you are wondering that why do these videos sound like these guys, why do these sound like high resolution, high-end videos, and why do videos like mine sound much less, like very low resolution compared to that? It's not because the system that was recorded has that big difference, but it's because you are receiving either higher information content or lower information content. So that's the number one thing, to be able to use all of these videos and compare the resolution you are getting, the texture, imaging, all of these. You need to factor in what you are listening to. Are you listening to a baby MP3 or something that's a useful bitrate? So that's the number one thing. Number two thing that you need to consider is the conversion of this MP3 format. So basically, and not just the conversion to MP3 format, but what your system is doing to the sound. So let's now have a look at this, what your system is going to do to the sound and how is that going to show up on YouTube. And for that, what you need to do is that you need to whip out your cell phone. I'm pointing at my cell phone right now, I'm making the video with that, and you need to fire it towards your stereo system and record something that you are playing. Record a song. Anyone can do that, right? All of us have cell phones, and many of these videos are made with cell phones. Of course, when you look at these AV show reports and those professional channels, they have dedicated microphones, so they are doing a better quality recording than you. But when you look at my videos, many of my videos, like for example that one that I made it with this cell phone, or maybe I made it with my previous phone, but I made it with a cell phone. So that's how it was. And why is that important for you to make a video with your cell phone? Download it to your computer, upload it to YouTube. So if you are viewing this video on YouTube, and it means that you also you have a YouTube account. Any one of you who has a YouTube account can upload videos to your own YouTube account, and then you can listen to it. And when you listen to it, you will be able to hear what is the transformation that this thing does to your sound. So then by listening to that your sound snippet, your own AV showroom report, and you listen to that through YouTube and compare that, how does that sound compare to the original sound you are getting from your system, you will be able to tell what this YouTube conversion is doing to the sound. And you can use that to establish a baseline. So it is critical and vital that you establish your own baseline for listening to YouTube showroom videos. If you have the opportunity to have a better sound recording system than a camera, then by all means do that, and also make a recording with it, upload it to YouTube, and you can compare how a cell phone made video of your system will sound through YouTube, and you can compare how a more professionally made video will sound that was done by a dedicated sound recorder. And then you can use these two, or at least one of them, the cell phone, as the baselines for all of these recordings. And when you look at the AV showroom reports and other sound samples, for example like that, then by looking at the description that what they used to record the sound. Did they use a dedicated microphone or did they use their cell phone to record? Plus, look at the number of views it's getting. If it's just a few tens or few hundred videos, you can be 100% sure that it's a low bitrate specimen you are getting. If the view count is in the 100,000s, you can be rest assured you are getting the high bitrate version. So now you have your baseline, you know what you are listening to, and this is, you have reached now the point that you can make more wide conclusions, wider reaching conclusions. So now you are not totally in the dark about what you are hearing. However, we come to the third consideration, which is just as important to determine how useful these sound samples are and how much you can gauge that loudspeaker or the amplifier or the DAC's ability to portray sound, and that number 3 is truly vital. And number 3 is your system's limitations. I just call it as a system limitation. So basically, every aspect of the sound you are hearing from any of these videos is going to be hard limited by the capabilities of your system. So for example, if your system cannot deliver the frequency range or the resolution of Wilson audio speakers, then it's never going to sound like Wilson audio experience in your room. That's vital. Or, for example, if your system is unable to deliver the dynamics of ultra efficient loudspeakers, then you will never experience what ultra dynamic loudspeakers sound. Okay? Or texture and resolution. If your system has very limited textural resolution, then you can listen to any high resolution videos or the newest DACs or moving coil cartridges, phono systems. You are never going to experience that sort of textural resolution that that system is capable to project. Or if a system can deliver emotional impact, but your system is unable to do that, then through a sound sample like an AV Showrooms sample, you are not going to experience that emotionality that you experience listening to that system. So this is absolutely vital, that you know what your system limitations are and that your system limitations are going to limit whatever you hear through YouTube. And then going backwards, you absolutely need a baseline to relate to those videos, to basically experience the change that you are getting by recording a stereo system and uploading that specimen to YouTube. And number one concern is you have to be aware of the resolution that you are getting, that you are receiving, and you also need to know whether it was done by a cell phone or a professional recorder. And that consideration is very important, because cell phones, especially new cell phone, if you have the latest generation iPhone and something like that, they are doing something strange to process the sound. and they are distorting phase information, so you are going to get a skewed tonality, and it's going to affect things a lot. And if you are using, so cell phones are giving you a very compromised thing that's going to limit a lot of issues. Also, they do some automatic dynamic compression, so the dynamic range will be out the window as well, tonality out the window. However, when you use a professional recorder, then they will give you an accurate perspective regarding the tonality and the dynamic range much more clearly than a cell phone does. So please be mindful of that. And one last bonus that I'm giving you guys, basically these three things. This is the +1, the bonus, and that bonus is to help you to navigate your system limitations. And one of the system limitations is that please observe what is the difference that your system is doing with limited MP3s and with better quality MP3s. For every single system, the higher bitrate videos should give you higher resolution and better detail level. However, in case your system does other things as well between these two, so what you are experiencing is that when you go to the lower bitrate, it's not just you have less textual information, but the sound stage is collapsing, dynamic range disappears, bass disappears, human speech becomes unintelligible. It means that your system is doing very heavy processing to the sound, and what you perceive as a high quality aspect of sound reproduction in your system, that is very heavily biased by a harsh measure of sound processing. So what you are getting, it might be high end, but it's not high fidelity. You are getting high end through manipulation of phase information, manipulation of EQ, and you can experience that when you drop the bitrate, then it becomes foul. If your system is a neutral system, it is not altering the data stream heavily to create artificial cues for the brain to interpret as higher textural resolution, then your system will be able to present those 126K low resolution MP3s with full body naturalness, and they should not feel as MP3s at all. You should not be experiencing any jitter, any unnaturalness. It should be fluid, natural, and moving, and that's what I'm experiencing with my system. That when I'm watching through YouTube these low resolution MP3 containing showroom videos, it still gives me a very natural representation. And those of those of you who have listened to my system playing these videos, they just get really shocked, because it's really just totally mind-blowing that how much information such low quality MP3 contains when your system has a naturally high resolving capability without doing artificial signal processing on it. And I said this to you because, guys, if you find that to be the case with your system, then you can gauge these sound samples much more accurately. because it means that your system is not doing a heavy processing that truly biases your experience. So it means that there's no extra processing, then you are getting these in an unfiltered fashion. It will be still limited by your sound system, but you are getting something closer to the truth. And that's it. So these three are my guidelines for you to navigate the world of YouTube, AV Showroom, and sound samples. And just don't forget, if you want to hear what really top systems can do, like for example, like those guys or these guys, I'm pointing to my system, not too humble, but actually quite accurate and realistic, or these guys here. So for example, through my big Altec system, my Altec speakers, which have actually higher efficiency than these Cult One loudspeakers and wider frequency range, I can truly appreciate their sound and have an impression how they really sound. But when I listen to this exact same video through my computer at work, through my headphones, I'm getting kind of a joke. And even though it still has a resemblance to some of the characteristics of that system, but it's completely unable to give back the extreme dynamic range that this system can give to you, which is the number one strength of it. However, when I listen to this YouTube snippet through my ultra efficient speakers, I am almost fully able to appreciate what they sound like, because it's going to it can be represented. So you can reach as long as your abilities allow you to reach. Thank you guys. I hope you will now have an easier time navigating YouTube. Have an awesome day. Have a blast. Bye bye.